It can be very difficult for some people to stay on their diet and stay on their plan and stay connected to fitness and nutrition while on the road. But in today's video, I'm going to teach you how I'm doing that. A lot of times I'm coming back from some of these trips and I'm even sometimes losing weight rather than gaining weight. And that is something that never happened before, because a lot of times I'd go on trips and I'd gain 5 pounds, 6 pounds. I remember going to New Orleans one time with my wife for just a couple days and gaining 16 pounds. I did really enjoy the food down there, but I was missing some of these following principles that I'm going to share with you today. So a couple easy things you can do is you can just travel with some fitness equipment. You could travel with some stuff, and I just have these ropes in here today, right in this bag. Boom, they just fit right in here. Or when I traveled with them recently, I had them in my suitcase. And what can we do with these ropes? Well, we can use these ropes to burn some calories. We can get some activity in. And while I was in New Jersey recently, I did a bunch of this stuff. I did it on the beach. I did it on some walks. I did it just periodically, not just in the morning, but a couple times a day. So having something like this can be real simple and easy. You could travel with a slingshot in your bag, which I do quite often. I'd knock out some push-ups in the morning. You could travel with something like a hip circle. There's a lot of options with things that you can travel with that are going to encourage you to stay connected to your fitness in some way. Hey, look, I understand it's a vacation, but does it have to be detrimental to the goals that you have? Or can you go on vacation, enjoy yourself, enjoy some delicious food, but still stay a little bit tethered to your exercise regimen by just making things a little easier by traveling with some stuff with you? Another thing that you can do while you travel is just walk. Try to walk a couple times a day. There's been some literature, there's been some research that shows that multiple walks multiple times a day can really help regulate blood glucose levels, all the way to the point where in some of these studies, walking was more powerful than the pharmaceutical drug metformin. It's really interesting. There's a lot of power in walking, and people sometimes maybe don't want to hear it because walking isn't, super intense, or it's not very difficult to do. But for me, more recently, I've been doing quite a bit of weighted walks with a weight vest. But obviously, while I'm on vacation, I'm not going to bring a 20-pound or 40-pound weighted vest with me. But I found that just walking is super impactful, super important. So try to make sure you get in a certain amount of steps. Let's say you have some travel coming up. There's 2 really good ways to handle that. You could walk a little bit more in preparation for the holidays. You can walk a little bit more in preparation for your birthday. You could walk a little extra in preparation for your vacation before you leave for vacation. And then when you're on vacation, you can also keep those steps up. You're probably going to walk anyway. Like, have you ever visited a place like Washington, D.C.? I remember that because years ago when I was still big and powerlifting, that's where we went on a family vacation, and whoo, I was smoked. My feet were smoked and my whole body was kind of dying because I was still pretty fat, big and fat. So walking is a great tool. I showed you that you can travel with some stuff in your backpack or some stuff in your luggage. And it doesn't have to be heavy weighted stuff. It could be stuff that's lightweight and easy to travel with. Now on top of that, if you're gone for 4 or 5 days, it would be good for you to schedule or really think about or consider to have at least 1 or 2 of those days out of like 4 to 7 days where you are actually going to do maybe a little bit more deliberate exercise, like get in some sort of workout. And that's where you can do some push-ups, some squats, some different things like that. If you're on a beach, then a beach is a great place to do lunges. It's a great place to do some squats. It's also a great place to get in some running. So as I've been traveling around recently, I'm fortunate that I developed the skill set of running. So running is another option, but I know not everyone loves it. But I think it's reasonable, and I don't think I'm asking too much for most of you that, if you're a heavier person, you're obese, and you haven't done even like a lot of walking, then I would not suggest running for you at all. However, if you feel capable, if you're up to it, I think some walking in addition to a little bit of jogging, just right here, nothing real fast, nothing real crazy, that would be fantastic. Some other options, as much as I'd love for you to get outside, if you're on vacation and it's colder out or the weather is not appropriate, just go in the hotel gym and spend 20 minutes lifting some weights, spend another 20 minutes on the elliptical. Yes, the elliptical. I think the elliptical is a hidden gem. I think it's the best piece of equipment ever invented for weight loss. And the reason why I say that is because we know that a burpee is like the most calorically dense thing that you can do. It's gonna demand a lot of calories from you, a lot of energy, right? But an elliptical is smooth and graceful, and it's really nice and gentle to the body. It's very low impact, but you can keep your heart rate up. Getting your heart rate to 130, 140 might be kind of hard for some of you that are in shape on an elliptical. You got to get some pretty good work in at a pretty good speed. However, the wear and tear on the joints is going to be next to nothing. So traditional workouts, going to a gym or doing some squats, push-ups, lunges, things like that. And do this with a family member. So when I traveled to New Jersey recently, I'm there for my family reunion. I'm there with my cousin Steven, my cousin Stacy, my Uncle John, my Uncle Peter, and a lot of these guys and a lot of these people in my family, they like to exercise as well. And it's not hard for me to, rally one of them up for a run. It's not hard for me to rally one of them up for a walk. It's not difficult for me to say, hey, on this day, let's go to the gym. And I realize, and some of you are probably thinking, man, my wife, she'd kick my ass if I told her I wanted to go to the gym. Well, if it's just on one day, right? Let's say you're gone for 5 days and you say, baby cakes, I need one day where I just go to the gym. Let me do that. And what you'll find is it's going to be a lot of fun for you to go to a completely different gym with completely different machines. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be way different of a workout than what you're used to. Way different energy. Probably like better energy because it's new, because it's different. It's going to feel good. So encourage that family member to either go with you or encourage them to understand the importance of what it means to you and how important it is for you to stay connected to what it is that you love to do. The other option is always this: wake up early. Get up early, get out in front of it, have your workout done by 8 a.m. Having your workout done by 8 or 9 a.m. on a vacation, who the hell else is up? Your 13-year-old daughter certainly isn't up. She's still sleeping, right? Your 16-year-old son, he's still sleeping. I got kids, and when they were teenagers, when both of them were teenagers, they end up sleeping pretty late. So there's an option for you right there, is to get in some exercise at a different time of day. The encouragement to family members, I think, is huge, because the family members will come back and they will encourage you. So I've been talking to my family for the last 20 years about exercise, nutrition, lifting weights. Oh, nice. Some M&M up there. Hush Little Baby, right? I don't know if that's the name of. Yeah, I don't know if that's the name of Mockingbird. There you go. That's cool. But I've been encouraging my family to lean towards fitness, exercise for a long time. And now they push it back to me. They're like, hey, let's go do this. So they'll encourage me now to do that. And it's fun. It was great. I got an opportunity to spend an hour and a half with my cousin Stacy, who I only see her like once a year. And it was amazing. I went on some walks with my cousin Steven as an entire family. There's like 40 of us. We even went on some walks with big groups of us after dinner. Dinner and meals and stuff could be a cue for you to walk. That's another great tip right here. So when you're traveling, your cue to eat is your cue to move, which that should be in your day-to-day as well. But like, again, we're trying to mitigate weight gain, and we're trying to make sure that we're not gonna pack on the LBs while we're traveling. I want you to still enjoy your food. When I went to Boston and I went to New Jersey, I still enjoyed great food. I went on a food tour. That's something that me and my family love to do. If you've never been on one before, you owe it to yourself to sign up for a food tour. They're not extremely expensive. You get historical information about the place that you're at. Your kids will probably really enjoy it. If you can bring other family members, they'll probably really like it. And you get to try some of the best foods in the area. And when we went through Boston, we got to try all kinds of different sandwiches, all kinds of different Italian food, different kinds of pizza, different kinds of alcohol, and it was amazing. Absolutely fantastic. So I can't recommend that enough. But you know what you do on the food tour? You walk. You walk the entire time. So I've been on food tours before where you walk like 6 or 7 miles. I mean, it can get to be kind of, after a while, get kind of tedious on the whole family, but it's fun because you're doing what everyone loves to do, and that's eat, right? So there's something that involves great interaction with the community that you're in. It's a great way to see the town and city that you're in addition to having a great time and sharing some memories with some family members. And you're going to get in a lot of steps. If you're somebody that typically doesn't track your steps, which I don't think is super important, but maybe on vacation, maybe you do track them. Maybe just take a glance at your phone. You hit the little app on your phone for the heart, and it should be tracking your steps if you have an Apple phone. I know some of you have watches and all these other different things. Very simple to track your steps. So this is an actionable item for you. When you travel, see if you can just bring those steps. If you're already like a 20,000 a day stepper or 15,000 a day stepper, ignore what I'm about to say. But if you're used to it, bring those steps up. And make sure you bring good shoes with you when you travel. Super important that you have good footwear. I love these guys right here. These are Splay. These guys are Splay, and they're either getting pretty worked, but super comfortable, kind of slip-on type shoes. The bottom of them is good enough to handle the terrain. Shama sandals, I'm a huge fan of. I like Vivo Barefoot, another great brand. So, find a shoe that's going to be comfortable, that fits you well, because you're going to want to try to get in a lot of steps, a lot of activity. And that's what we're talking about here today. So when you travel, what are some of the things, what are the hang-ups, what are the things that get you? Lack of activity and overeating. Well, we don't really have to avoid overeating, but we need to be conscious of it. So what I did when I traveled, I got kind of 2 ways that I can go about managing things when it comes to managing how hungry I am, the calories and stuff. One way is to make sure I bring some healthy stuff with me. So healthy stuff, number 1, I love just to hit up a grocery store and buy a lot of things that are conducive for protein leveraging. One of my favorite items is 000 yogurt. And 000 yogurt has no fat. It's primarily just protein. And it's something that's filling. Tastes pretty good. I usually buy vanilla or wild berry, and I will mix vanilla. This is the whey protein. That's another avenue that I recommend, that I think is important, is that bring some protein powder with you. I found that to be really helpful on my trips. Number 1, it helps with the sweet tooth, and number 2, I can add it to, cottage cheese. I can add it to yogurt. I can make a shake. I can, thicken it up a little bit and have it kind of fill me up. I can have a protein shake before we go to dinner. This is a huge tip in general that I think is amazing. I no longer go out to eat for the food. I go out to eat for the experience and for the people that I'm with. I go out to have fun. I go out to have a good time. So I'm not the guy who's like, they overcooked my steak. I don't do that. You know why? Because I eat before I go. I make sure I'm nourished. That's what a professional does. I think all of you, when it comes to your nutrition, you really need to protect yourself and guard yourself. So get the correct nutrition before you go somewhere. Before you go to the movie theater. You want to have some movie theater popcorn? Cool, that's fine. But nourish yourself so you're not buying the movie theater popcorn, the peanut butter cups, and having a 72-ounce Coke, right? Because that's going to be like a nail in the coffin. And when we travel, we want to make sure that, not necessarily we're not overeating, because you can still eat a lot, especially when you make good food choices and when you have some food at the Airbnb that you're at or at the hotel that you're at. A couple other ways to kind of arm yourself and keep yourself strong while you travel is to learn what accommodations does the hotel or Airbnb have. Is there a fridge? Is there a stove? Should I try to stay at an extended stay where they have a kitchen? You know, like some of these little upgrades, sometimes a little bit more money, but a lot of times still very affordable, just a small tweak, and it can allow you to have a much more nutritious vacation, much more staying connected to your fitness a lot better if you listen to some of the rules that I'm sharing today. Nowadays I'm 220 pounds, and for the last, let's say, the last like 2 years or so, I was right around 240, 250 for a long time. Before that, I weighed 330 and came down from 330, 290, 270, 260, and so on. But really got stuck around 240 for a while, and more recently been able to drop another 20 lbs. And a lot of it is through the things I'm mentioning here to you today. Even though I'm talking a lot about travel, one thing that's really helped me manage my weight is what I'm doing right here, just walking. I cannot stress to you enough. I started out the video talking about walking, but I think it's relevant. I think it's important to communicate it to you as much as possible. As I was mentioning with the elliptical trainer, one of the cool things about walking is it's super easy to recover from it. It almost like it doesn't cost you anything. It's like a free way to burn some energy. You could be pretty tired and go on a walk. You could be sore and go on a walk. But if you're sore and you go in for another training session, lifting wise, you might end up getting hurt, you know, or it might just take you a long time to recover for it, which might drive down your movement over the next couple days. So the cool thing about walking is we get to do it so often, and it's really easy to recover from and recoup from. Some things that get messed up when you're traveling are your sleep. So try to figure out a way to get in some good sleep. Maybe your sleep is going to be altered and thrown off quite a bit, but maybe there's areas where you can get a nap. Maybe you can, get a little bit of snoozing in here and there, wherever you can. I want to go back to the food for a second because I mentioned yogurt, I mentioned protein powder. When you're traveling through airports and stuff, again, it's best to bring a lot of your nutrition with you, and I'll share that with you as well. I use a product called Carnivore Crisps, and I also utilize, I think it's called People's Choice. I'll show all this to you at my house. People's Choice beef jerky, and I make these like meat bags, I call them. So you're best off taking control of your own nutrition the best that you can, and traveling with stuff that is appropriate for your diet. You could travel with some like canned meat. There's like canned chicken, canned fish. There's all kinds of stuff, but you might personally find that to be gross, or you might not find that to be something that you would enjoy. it's going to be really critical that you enjoy the food that you bring with you too, because you don't want to just lug around extra stuff that you're not actually going to use. When you do travel though, and you do go to the airport has, sometimes it has Quest bars, sometimes it will have stuff from Legendary Foods, the Pop-Tarts, the Tasty Pastries. I usually just bring that with me because I don't see those everywhere all the time. There's a wide assortment of protein bars these days. I don't believe that protein bars should be the mainstay or staple of anyone's diet. I don't think that they're better than eating a candy bar, right? At least in my opinion. And they will provide you some protein, but it shouldn't be a main thing for most people. So it's a snack. It's also a sweet tooth thing. It's also something that's different than eating another chicken breast. It's something that's different than eating another steak. But at the airport, there's a lot of stuff. You'll find fermented pickles in bags. You can tear open the top. It's got a resealable pouch. They have olives that are the same way. Hard-boiled eggs, believe it or not. Sounds like some horses are doing some nasty stuff over there or something. You never know around here in Davis what the hell's going on in this arboretum. But the food options, they might not be as horrible as you think at the airport. Some airports really suck. Some of them really suck. It's going to be hard to go to the restaurants in the airports unless you're in a big city. You're in like Houston, Texas. You're at JFK in New York. Some of these bigger airports. There's going to be pretty nice places to eat. But a lot of times it's going to be hard to find like nutritious foods or foods that just aren't full of like a lot of fat. It kind of brings me to my next thing, is that I have found personally that being keto for a day or two or being keto during travel can be really, really useful, because most of the places that serve food, they're gonna cook their food in a pan and oil and all this other stuff, right? So it's easier to avoid carbohydrates at a lot of these places. And if they are going to give you some carbohydrates, like let's say you're having breakfast and you have like mashed potatoes or something like that, or not mashed potatoes, hash browns. The hash browns are going to be fried in some oil. Now you're getting fats and carbs. The options for dinner a lot of times is mashed potatoes and all this other stuff, and you're really just loading up on a lot of calories that are just sort of bullshit calories that you don't need. And so I found it really useful when I travel to be a little keto-ish on the road. So you might find that to be beneficial to you. Another snack that gets overlooked that maybe people aren't thinking about is fruit. And fruit is something you can pretty easily travel with. You can stop at grocery stores, gas stations, all kinds of stuff. You want to try to find the best quality fruit that you can. But you got to do what you got to do while you're traveling, and that's very easy to be able to do that. I think eggs are really good. It's all kind of dust kicking up over here. Eggs are awesome when you travel. So, going to a grocery store, just buying some straight up eggs is good. If you can find hard-boiled eggs at the grocery store, that might be a good option for you. If you can find some hard-boiled eggs, really easy to store, easy to bring to like the beach, easy to, whipping out some hard-boiled eggs on an airplane. You might not be everyone's favorite person, but I do it all the time because they have hard-boiled eggs at the actual airport a lot of times. Taking the bread off a sandwich and eating the turkey and the cheese. Okay, we can agree that's not we'll go this way. Maybe that's not the best quality turkey, right? And maybe but you're traveling and you're trying to figure out a way to stay filled up a little bit. Obviously, you can bypass a lot of this stuff by fasting, right? So when I travel, I utilize strategies of fasting and I'll also utilize some keto strategies. Not the whole time, not for everything. I just told you that I ate a sandwich or ate sandwiches and pizza on a food tour. But the majority of the other food that I'm eating is usually going to be protein-based, protein and fats. And that way I'll feel nourished, I'll feel fed. But when it's time to, try the Philly cheesesteak when you're in Philadelphia, you still can eat it. You still can afford to do it because you had these other habits that you're still in line with, that you're still aligned with, that you're still doing, right? You're still getting in your walks. There still is a little bit of resistance training. You're getting in some of this stuff. There's so much to think about. There's so much to consider. You saw me with those flow ropes. Those are easy to travel with, lightweight. But if that's not your thing and you'd rather do something more conventional, bring a jump rope with you. Just jump some rope. Again, lightweight, easy to travel with. I travel with protein powder all the time. I just take my own protein powder. I throw it in Ziploc bags. And super convenient. It's easy. The only thing I have to remember to do is bring some sort of cup that I can shake everything up in. And it's not uncommon for me to have 1 or 2 shakes every single day. So either getting in 50 to 100 grams of protein via a protein shake, and now I only need to find another 100 to 150 grams of protein through some of the various foods that I'm eating. I'm trying to think of some other habits while traveling that could be really useful. I do think that travel, especially with family, is a wonderful opportunity to be away from your phone. It's a wonderful opportunity. You don't have to be away from your phone the whole time. You could still get to some business stuff, but maybe you allot certain time frame. Maybe let's say you work out in the morning, and then maybe there's an hour that you devote to spending a little bit of time either messing around on the phone or actually doing some work. And maybe you need to do that again later in the day because maybe you're pretty damn busy. Or maybe you need to be made available to people for whatever it is that your job is. I'll wrap a lot of this up by kind of saying some of the things I uttered in the beginning. As you get ready for something, there's no reason why you can't have a little preparation going into it. So if I know that I'm traveling at the end of this month, maybe today I start to walk a little bit more. Maybe I'm like, oh, you know what? I've only been getting in the gym twice a week. Let me step that up to 3 or 4 times a week because we got the vacation coming up. I want to expend a little extra energy. I don't want to gain a lot of weight on the trip. But if I do gain a couple lbs, it's just not that big of a deal. So you walk a little bit more going into it, and then maybe you walk a little bit more and exercise a little bit more afterwards. But afterwards might be tough because we all know we need a vacation from the vacation that we just took, right? Because sometimes a vacation throws everything off so much and kind of almost makes you feel busier than ever. And it was supposed to be like this reprieve, right? I'll also say that you guys hear me talk a lot about interpretation. My interpretation of everything has changed so much that I use the word vacation just so I can communicate to the normies. But I don't really have a vacation. I don't have a vacation away from my responsibilities. And for some of you, you might have a vacation away from your 9 to 5. Maybe you're an electrician, maybe you're a plumber, maybe you're a construction worker, and that's awesome. That's amazing, because I can never do any of those jobs. I would be fired in the first day, and I would suck at that kind of stuff. But what I mean is, I'm still responsible for myself. I'm still responsible for my well-being. I'm still responsible for my mind, my body, and my spirit. My mind, body, and spirit, I'm responsible for them 24 hours a day, 365 days out of the year. And for me to feel connected on all 3 of those things, I need to feel good about myself. For me to feel good about myself, I need to do the things that I enjoy, but I also need to do the things that give me fulfillment, And I also need to do the things that just make me feel good. They make me feel good, they make me feel better, and they're challenging. They have a little bit of a, they got a little bit of a tuned up annoyingness to them. Something like running. Like if I think about running, like, oh wow, like I don't really want to run, you know. Kind of get like that, like a big baby. I don't want to do it. You get like that because you're thinking of the beginning portion of your run. You're not thinking about that middle. You know, right when you switch over to annoying, and there's like that little annoying thing in the ankle, or your breathing's a little erratic for the day, right when you switch over and your body's like, fuck yes, this is exactly what I wanted. That's what you want to try to think about. Maybe when you're dwindling in your motivation, you're thinking about, I need to do that because I need to be right up here and I need to feel right on the inside. That's what all this is about, in my opinion. The whole reason to stay connected and tethered to your fitness is to allow yourself to reach this level of equanimity where you have the balance of the mind, body, spirit, and you're not moved off of that just because of something you've seen politically, just because of something you've seen religiously, on Fox News, CNN, Instagram. You're able to handle all of it like this because you know how to mitigate and handle stress, because you eat correctly and you exercise. I really hope you guys found this helpful, and I hope that the next time that you travel, you don't end up becoming a giant fat fuck. Strength is never weakness, weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later.